Hi, it's Emma from Centered Within. And I was thinking this morning, what should I talk about on my social media platforms? So I ask sometimes. Sometimes it's there waiting for me to speak to, and other times I'm just not too sure. And I often try and force it because I'm like, well, I need to go and do my reels. I need to go and do what I need to do. So what am I going to say? What am I going to say? But if you force it, it's not authentic. It's not what the message is meant to be coming through as, or it's not the solution yet because there's other pieces of information. It's like sometimes there's something that's happened and you need to know how you're going to fix it, or what you need to do next, or what is the next step. Your mind then can go into overdrive, thinking this solution, that solution, this way, that way. Sometimes, many times, myself included, that makes us feel better because once we know what the solution is, okay, I'm okay now. But that may not be the solution because you may be forcing something through the logical mind, analyzing, guessing. But there are so many other elements that are involved. And that is why allowing space for the answer to come in, for the message to come in, allows the authentic solution message to flow through. But sometimes we feel that we do not have the time to do so. But we do. It's just we view time, or it is viewed in the clock face, the hour by hour, but that is not time. That is just a marker of time. That's how we use time for appointments, to be somewhere, to make a distance to travel from. So we know that it takes us 2 hours to get somewhere, so within 2 hours we're going to be here. It's a marker, but that is not time. So when we think about it, we're like, there's just not enough time. But you're thinking about the marker, not the actual energy of time. Time, the true essence of time, is very, very different. But we can hold it, we can constrict it, we can try and manipulate it through control. Because we believe we have all the answers, but we do not have all the answers. Some of the answers will never come when you want them to, because you're not ready to hear, or it's not ready to unfold. This is why practices such as meditation, journaling, walking meditation, even cooking, but cooking when you are centered into who you are, not like as a chore. It's something you've got to do because then you are distracted and your mind is elsewhere. You might be feeling resentful, annoyed. When you're doing something that connects you, into the moment, because not everyone's up for doing journaling and not everyone is up for doing meditation, but you might really love going into the kitchen, and even if it's cooking porridge, I don't know why that's come up, but something simple, but you know that it's you, the ingredients, and you can put anything in porridge. It's not a long period of time you have to spend in the kitchen, but it's just a movement of energy. It's a flow, and you can use that to tune into who you are. And then sometimes when you start doing this or use this as a tool, oh my gosh, I didn't realize that. Well, this idea comes in because you've given yourself the space. You have taken away the element of, I know best. I can figure this all out on my own without any help whatsoever, and hold it and constrict it until you squeeze the life out of it. And then when you let that go and open yourself up, and you can ask for help, like I did earlier on. I went upstairs and said, what message How can I be of service today? What message can I share for those people who are ready to hear that message? And for whatever reason, I was called to do a video first for my podcast. So obviously something will come through for this, that I use on my reels. Because obviously in a reel, anything from 90 seconds to 60 seconds. So you have to be straight to the point. Where in a video, you can talk and more information comes out, more comes through. The more I talk, sometimes I talk, I don't know, I can talk anything from 10 minutes to 40 minutes. Depends what's coming through. I don't restrict myself and think, right, I can only speak for this amount of time, or I should speak for this amount of time. I'll speak for as long as I need to speak for. Not for any algorithms, not to please, not to think, well, people. I mean, I do think about that, because I do have to think about that. But when it's a video and it's longer, and I know it's going to be formed into a podcast, it is going to be as long as it is going to be. I mean, I know some podcasts are like 2 hours long. That's usually when there's two people involved. This is just me talking on a video. But when we give ourselves the space and we are practiced in giving ourselves the space, because we have to practice these things. We have to know that it's a tool that we can tap into. It's a tool that we can use. There are many tools that we can use, because you may not be able to go for a walk. You may not be able to go and meditate. You may not be able to go and sit down and have a coffee, but you know that you can do this and it will help you. Or you know that later on, or you know that letting it go, that there's no point in trying to figure it out now. Go on to the next thing you're meant to be doing. And then later on, maybe then you can meditate, maybe then you can journal, maybe then you can walk. Some of my biggest ideas have come in when I'm having a shower, on the toilet, or just walking. Not walking with any intention, just generally just walking. There's, I talk about her a lot, Tiani Talks. What did she say? The magic in the mundane. And basically what she's saying, when you're doing day-to-day life, the washing, all that sort of stuff, magic comes through. You don't have to be in a big full ceremony. You can be, and things do come through for that, but you don't have to be in a big, huge new moon transit, full moon transit, that this is happening, it's the solstice. It can happen when you're washing the dishes, when you're sitting on the toilet, when you're having a shower, and you're like, bang, oh. And this will happen more and more naturally the more and more you use this as a tool. Now, if you sit there in your shower, not that you're going to sit in a shower, but if you're there having a shower thinking, well, where's my answer? That's not going to come. It'll be the same thing as anything else. It's when you release it, let it go. And then don't expect, when I have my shower later on, it will be when. No, it will come through whenever it will come through. Because it comes through when it's meant to come through. And that is really annoying sometimes. Because you want it to come early. You want it to come now. Because then if it comes now, I will feel better. I won't have to stress. I won't have to worry. It's all sorted. But no. The time when you're feeling uncomfortable, feeling annoyed, feeling stressed, that's the time of working on that. Allowing yourself to feel it. And knowing that the solution will come when it's ready to come. And in this moment, you are feeling this way, and it is okay to feel uncomfortable, annoyed, anxious, worried. The solution will come. Focus on something else. Is there something else you need to do? Is there something else that you can do that maybe will give you some time away from that feeling? Not covering it up, not bearing it, but like a bit of a reset. You acknowledge how you feel. You know there's no answer at this moment in time. You know an answer will come. So maybe there's something else you can do with the full acknowledgement of how you feel and why, but then choosing to focus on something else. These are all so many tools that we can take around with us wherever we go. We build and adapt, we learn, and then sometimes we're like, why didn't I do that? Why did I not use that? Because it's all learning. We don't always, every single day, even me as an intuitive healer, you'd think my day from morning to night would be like, ching. No, it's not at all. I still get caught up in this. I still feel about that. But I do catch myself, or if I haven't caught myself, then I realise and I acknowledge it. I don't beat myself up for it. And if I do beat myself up for it, I acknowledge that as well. And then bring myself back in and looking through the eyes of compassion and understanding that maybe I've hit that default setting, that button, the one where I berate myself or have a go at myself if I don't get it right straight away. Instead of just like, this is what happens. This is a part of life. This is part of living an experience as a human. And this is where we learn, grow and evolve if we choose to. You don't have to. You really don't have to. And I think there's this sort of thing that you must heal, you must change. You don't have to. But if you're staying where you're staying, then acknowledge that you are choosing to continue that way because there is a choice, and that really annoys people. It used to really bug me when people say that to me. I would quite literally want to rip people's heads off their shoulders. And I was like, have you not seen my life? Can you not see what's going on? I really would go in for the kill when someone said that. But they were right, but I wasn't ready to hear it. I wasn't ready to hear it. And sometimes when you're not ready to hear something, you're maybe not ready to work on that element. You're maybe not willing or wanting to heal at the moment. I remember when I first started, I was just this how can I even talk to anyone about this? That's why I started reading a book. Because I did a little bit at a time, my own little journaling and doing the exercises in the back of the book. I did it my way, the way that I thought that I could cope at that moment. And that was the only way. There was no way anyone could help me. That's what I believed. And you know what? What I did was perfect. Obviously, I got to a point, and I thought, no, I do want to continue to change, but I know I can't do it myself. That's when I went to go and seek some support and extra help. But before that, what I was doing was perfect. And sometimes that's all you need. It doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be huge. It has to be what suits you at the moment, in the moment, for you. That it feels right. This is what you want to do. This is how you want to do it. There's no right or wrong. If you don't want to change, then don't change. If you've got that little inclination that you just can't live the way you're living anymore, then do that tiny little baby step. Sometimes it's perceived that the little baby step is not going to be big enough. And sometimes that baby step is the biggest, the most potent step that you'll take, because it will lead you to the next one and the next one and the next one. And then this big, huge step will come about. And that was never your first step, because you took a million before that. You just didn't recognise it. And sometimes we don't celebrate those millions of baby steps. because we think they're insignificant, but actually they're just as potent and as pivotal. And it's like that little tiny pebble you're putting down on a path, because it's a tiny little pebble. It forms a closer link with the next pebble, and the foundation is rock solid. And then there'll be a big one that goes down, and there'll be tiny little pebbles. And there will be things that happen that knocks you. But because that foundation is so rock solid, and as you look down, there's all these little tools that you thought, I forgot they were there. Or you use them all the time. So it becomes a part of who you are and what you do naturally without you even thinking about it. Because when you start, you think, right, I'll do that and I'll do that and I'll do that. And there comes a point, you just do it anyway because it's a part of you breathing in and out. And this is when you get to know who you are, who you're choosing to be, who you're deciding to be. And that tiny little baby step, you can have your goal, you can have your vision, you can have your manifestation, whatever it is. But that tiny little baby step is the tiny little baby step getting you closer to that. But sometimes, because it's not the big, huge one, we sometimes think we're so far away. Or the solution is not there. Well, I'm never going to get there because I can't figure it out. You're just figuring out where the next pebble is going to go. Sometimes you'll think you're figuring out the big, next, huge, massive paving slab. But that's not what you're asked of. That's not what it's all about. But we can get caught up in that. And that's when we focus on it. And it gets so frustrated it's not coming in. But when we use the tools and let go of that, acknowledge how we feel, it's okay. And then, okay. Or you just feel called or pulled, or you just have this feeling to do this. And you might think, well, what's this going to do? But when you look back, you think, I'm so glad I did. If I hadn't done that, but that's when you're looking back. So that little step, that little nudge, that little feeling is that tiny little pebble that's building the strong foundation for you to continue forward, for you to make that change, for you to decide, for you to be. I'm just seeing if there's anything else that needs to come through. No, I think that's it. As always, sending you so much love. Bye.